Hello and welcome to part 4 of Setting Up a Craft Business, where you can learn a little bit about a business and perhaps turn your hobby into a sideline income or maybe a little business. Anyway, today I thought I'd say a few things about branding. Well, actually a couple of things, because you'll find a few more in my guide. And the ones I wanted to take a look at were market position and also packaging. Now, market position, I know it sounds a bit of an odd sort of term when you're talking about a nice little craft business, but most sorts of businesses, you can put them into probably one or three categories, or at least it's quite easy to categorize them that way in terms of how they are. Are they like producing stuff very cheaply at a low mass market price? Are they like medium level business, or are they high end? And you could apply that probably to motor cars, to carpets, and anything else. You can also apply it to craft, to things that you make. Now I'd hope that for most what I call proper makers, their craft is falling in the middle to upper end of those three levels. But if you think of like jewellery at craft fairs, you'll get some which I think has probably just been bought in and is purporting to be sort of like homemade, and the chances are that will be hitting what I call a low level. You'll get some which has been very nicely made by a skilled maker, and it will be a nice good piece of jewellery, not using vastly expensive materials, but nice simple workmanship, which will probably be in like the middle area. And then you'll get like the high-end items which perhaps have been beautifully made out of really expensive material, etc. So you can get the sort of impression I'm trying to get at here, and probably with your own craft area you can put it into different bandings. Now, what I think is important about with all of this is to decide at the outset roughly which area you're aiming at. Are you aiming at the higher end, middle point, or sort of like a fast food equivalent end of the market? Because it will affect how customers will perceive your products over time. And my general advice on this would actually be to go to like middle to up market. And the reason I say that is with craft, if you're doing things nicely and properly, so much of your costs are labour related, and it makes your items quite expensive. So you're far better off actually not skimping on materials and going for nice quality. So I mean, take the case of a blacksmith. The iron they're going to be using is relatively cheap. What's making that product expensive is obviously the labour that goes into it. It's the same with a glass blower. The raw product is, in the scheme of things, not that expensive relative to the labour that's going in. And it's worth sort of thinking about your own area, but I've certainly found with leather craft that one is better going for the best materials you can, because when I actually make something, the material component is probably something like a third of the cost and the labour is 2/3. So it's for that reason I would suggest you look at your own area and ask yourself why you're not going to be in the sort of middle branding area, the middle market area to the upper market in terms of your quality of product. And it's worth having that sort of thinking early on. I see a lot of products where they've been made out of not such great materials, and it's a shame because the skill is often there, but you look at it and you think, well, that could be a fantastic product if they spent £10 more on the materials. Yes, it will put the price up, but I think generally with craft, if you're going for what I call the niche and slightly more upmarket level, it will be worth it. So that's something to have a think about for your own area, and I'd suggest you look at other makers, see what they're doing, see what you like, don't like, and also do like a cost analysis to see how the price of your raw material affects what you're making and your end selling price, and you may be surprised. So market position, quite important, have a think about it. The other area I thought worth a mention in terms of your branding, I mean, branding's a bit like personality. It's how you're being perceived across the market is your packaging. And I think this is an area it's worth putting a bit of focus on, trying to get your packaging to match the kind of product that you're making. And what I mean by that is, it's a great shame, I think, if you make a lovely, say, wooden item or natural clay item or wool item, and then you go and wrap it up in plastic. A lot of your customers are going to be discerning and perhaps eco-conscious and not want to see plastic cellophane wrapping all over their products. I'm generalising here, but I think it's something again to think about for what you make. And I think the other thing about packaging, it can reflect your sort of ethos. It can make a real difference to the perceived quality. But packaging doesn't just stop perhaps with a nice, paper box, paper envelopes, etc., an eco-friendly sort of wrapping. I think you need to, with your packaging, also think around whether you want to put a personal card in or personal little handwritten line just to say thanks for your custom. The other day I treated myself to an upmarket leather tool, and I was rather disappointed on receipt actually, in as much as the box was lovely that it came in. I mean, it's ridiculous really, it's only a tool. But there was no little note just to say thanks for your custom, thanks for supporting my business, or thanks for your purchase. It's such a simple thing to do. Even on the receipt, just scribble thanks and your name. It's not going to take you ages, but I think it can help you build a little bit of customer sort of interest and get a bit of repeat business, and it's just common courtesy really. So another thing to have a think about for your business, do consciously think about these things though, because they will impact how you will be seen in the marketplace. And as I say, generally my advice would be go for slightly towards the upper end of the market, get your packaging so it's nice and sort of like reasonably eco-friendly. Obviously I appreciate there'll be exceptions where for one reason or another you just have to use a plastic envelope or something because it's the only way you can get it into the post system for a particular kind of situation, particularly COVID at the moment. But try where you can to have nice packaging that's recyclable, and think about a little bit of personalisation, maybe just a little message, handwritten line, not much. I've popped a few other things that are all about branding in terms of values, customer service and all of that in my guide, and I'll pop a link in the description below, so if you want to buy the guide you can. It's on my website, and if you do buy it you'll be helping the MDS Bone Marrow Failure charity, helping people with bone marrow failure. So you'll be doing a nice bit of good at the same time as helping yourself. And the guide covers all the sort of videos I'm popping up around setting up your small business. So anyway, hope that's helpful, and please subscribe and you can see what comes up in the next one. Okay then, bye bye.